Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob, and today I think we're going to talk about the S10. This S10 is quite possibly the biggest piece of shit I've ever laid my hands on. It is junk from the get-go. And it's not because of what it's made of, it's how it was put together. In order to get my manifold out of the way, to just get to the bolts on the outside of the head, to be able to get on them straight without rounding them off, I'm almost scared that when I do go to take them out, they ain't going to break off. So I don't need any side angle movement on my socket while I'm trying to take them bolts out, or I'm going to round them out, and then I'm going to have the same problem that I had with the exhaust. So now I've got to pull the steering column just to get the frickin' manifold out. You can't get it from below, you can't get it from above, because of that big knuckle on the back side of it that your EGR tube screws down to. It won't come up out of there. So I tell you, man, I would love to have the guy or girl or group in front of me. I'm mad enough to take on a group, but I'd love to have them in front of me right now. I swear to God, I would punch them square in their face. They ain't no sense in the way they put this shit together. So now I'm going to have to pull a steering column and probably find more problems. I'm not trying to look for more problems. I'm trying to find less problems. So I'm hoping that I can take that bolt out, lift it off of the steering box, and push it backwards and maybe get it draped up out of the way. I don't know if it will pivot. It's got a angle on it right now, right here, because it is kind of angled in towards the front middle of the vehicle. But to be quite honest with you, if it wasn't for all this bullshit right here, that shield, this big tube, that tube, because in actual, the shaft is only about an inch. They've added frickin' another ½ inch to it. 1/4 inch on each side because it's round. But you just can't get that manifold up out of there for nothing. Watch it make a liar out of me. Let me see if I can do something here. But I tell you, I'm about ready to set fire to this piece of shit. I promise you that. That's where my mind's at right now. Let me take that nut off of there that holds the, maybe it'll relieve some. That's the original nut that came off of the original tube. I was hoping to make me a new tube, but that didn't work out. Oh, come on. No, it will not. Motherfucker. So I gotta take the goddamn fucking steering column loose. Why don't I just take the whole cab off of it just so I can get to the top transmission bolts? Because I hear that's going to be an issue. Of course, I see them right there, so it shouldn't be too awful hard to get to. But it does have this damn fuel rail in the way. I got to figure out where it's bracket. I'm probably going to have to take that off too. But I won't know until I get this head out of the way so I can actually see down in there a little bit better. Once I see what's down there, I'll understand it a little bit better. But, you know, that's horse shit for them to make stuff like that. I ended up having to take the drive shaft out. The front drive shaft, I had to drop it off of the rear end to get room to get straight in on the 2 bolts. So I got 2 of them out, or 1 of them out, and then the other 2 I had to cut. I had to use a Sawzall for 1 of them because I couldn't get the die grinder in there. I couldn't fit that in there. I could only fit this in on 1 of them. So I got 1 of them with this, cut the head off of it, and then chiseled the rest of it because I couldn't go deep enough. So I had to take a chisel and knock the rest of the bolt off of it and break it. So now I got to put new studs in it. All this thing's doing is costing more money. That's not going to happen. So I'm about ready to take this and have my neighbor bring his tractor over, and I think I'm gonna pull this around back, cover it up, and cover it up with a tarp, and I think I'm gonna be done with it until I decide what I permanently want to do to it. And even if I didn't have any problems with this stuff coming apart, you know, even the ashtray in this damn thing was designed wrong. As simple as an ashtray. How do you mess that up? So, you hear me tapping, that usually means I'm irritated. You know, every time I look at something, I found a hole in the frame. And that's got to be patched. And then I noticed the frame is a 3-piece frame. You got the front section, the middle section, and the back section. And right where this section and the middle section comes together, that's where the hole is. And it's all eat up and rust in there. So, I don't know how I'm going to deal with that. I can't even figure out how I'm going to deal with this. And I've got more stuff coming ahead of me. Yeah, see, I'm not into this, guys. I'm probably going to put this on hold. My life has to come first. So, I'm going to stop cleaning on it. I did get the frame cleaned up a bit and painted. Y'all seen me clean it up in the last video. It's already got dust all over it. I knew that was going to happen, but that's alright. But it looks pretty decent. Cleaned up the clips on the wire wheel, put them back. And look, I should have painted it before I put it on there. But it will before I'm done, if it happens. But you can see down here, you don't have enough room to really do anything. I had extensions on this thing that long, man. And it was working, it worked on the other side. The other side came out pretty okay. But on this side, somebody had rounded this one off and rounded this one off. And I had to cut those two. I had to use a Sawzall to cut this one right here, and I cut into this, but that's not really a big deal because that's not where it seals. So if I cut into it a little bit right there, it seems like I just scratched it, so I didn't cut into this. And you can see the rest of it right there. So I can just flatten that back off there, it'll be just fine. That just means that it'll go up and get a little tighter against the, but yeah, you can't even get it from down here. I thought maybe I could, if this here wasn't in the way, the down, or the Y pipe, then yeah, I could probably fish that thing down through there. But why the hell would you want to disassemble all this whole thing just to get that out? You got, look how close that is to start with. You got all these wide areas down here, you can't even maneuver that out. You actually have to pull the head to get to it. But because I can't get a straight shot on these bolts, I'm not going to round those off. So even a swivel on a head bolt is not a good thing. You want as much torque as you can get, no flex. But that thing just will not come up out of there for nothing. Well, I might be able to get to that one straight on. Maybe if I just keep maneuvering that until this slot here lines up with it, I can put my ratchet down through there and do that for each one of them. Get that head out of the way so I can get this up out of there. But when I go to put this back together, I actually might be able to get it back in there. I'll just put these on before the motor goes in. It should go in there okay, because you got plenty of room on that side to move the motor that way to kind of rock it down underneath of this. So, but, wow, guys. And my heart's not in this job. I can tell you that right now. And it's getting worse. Yeah, my heart's almost out of this job. And it ain't gonna be, it ain't gonna take but a whisper or a breeze to make this thing go away. I'm almost there. And then I got body work to do on top of that. And, I wasn't looking for a restore. I was looking for something I could fix up and drive. I wasn't looking for a total restore. And that's what this is turning into. So, I can do it. My money can't. So, I have to pick and choose what I need to do and what I can or can't do. I choose my battles wisely. And this one so far has been a very, very unwise deal. This is an unwise decision right here. But I just thought maybe if I had a vehicle, that I could appreciate and be able to drive around to go see my buddy. I like to go visit him once in a while. He always comes to visit me, and I don't like that. It makes me feel like that's a one-way thing. But, I just can't afford to drive that other truck. And, no, I'm not asking nobody for no opinions either. I'm just stating the obvious. I can't afford to drive that thing. It's 8 miles to the gallon. But when I have to move, that truck's going to be God sent. I can promise you that. and I always have to be prepared to move at any moment's notice. And I'm getting tired of that too. So, this battle has just about beaten me. I think it's going to win. So, I guess my restore days is pretty much over. That Prowler, that one pretty much broke the bank for a while. And, but at least I got some money out of it. So that one actually was that was like a credit to me, when I needed it the most. So I don't know whether I want to put this thing up for sale for a parts truck or if I want to continue. If it wasn't for all these goddamn wires and connectors and sensors, and I mean, I'm surprised this thing don't have a sensor in the seat that tells you when you farted, or tells the fucking passenger that you farted to tell on you. I'm surprised there's not one in there. Now, if you smelled the seat, you'd probably smell where a bunch of fucking people done farted in them, but that's a whole different story. But I don't know if this video will get put up or not. It just depends on how I feel. But I just kind of want to document all this stuff that's going on with this and how I feel about it. And, it's just GM, they really made it. Well, all of them's doing it now. All the companies that build these vehicles, these guys that make these vehicles, starting in the 80s, they started trying to figure out ways to build this engine compartment. You can only fit but so much into a space, especially when you have to work on it. And if you fill that space, you can't work on it. So this is becoming a bitch session is what it is. Might just call it the bitch session. The S10 bitch session. Of course, it probably wouldn't go through with the word bitch in the title. YouTube, oh, they got a cuss word right in the title. Calling somebody a bitch. We can't be having that. But they make it discouraging for people to even want to mess with them. And all this is doing is reteaching me, because apparently I forgot, that never get anything that was made after 94, 96, somewhere around there. That's about the time things started rocking and rolling on this stupid shit like this. And they made it mandatory for a person to have this. Now, how the hell can they determine, how can they let this determine what you feel is right? That thing doesn't see the road. It doesn't see what's ahead of you. You drive to combat those problems that you see along the road. So when this thing changes the way you hit your brake, you and this are on two different mind waves. This one's doing one thing, and it's going to do it whether you decide not to or whatever. It does what you don't want it to do. So I don't like my braking system to come down to electronics, because electronics fail. And I would feel safer in a straight hydraulic system than I would with hydraulic controlled by electronics. So what does that mean? That when if your battery's dead and everything shuts off, you have no brakes? Is that how it works? I don't know. I don't want that to be an issue for me. So I'm going to try to get rid of this. But somebody commented in my last video that the four-wheel drive wouldn't work after I disabled this. Now, I've watched 10 videos. I'm not saying he's not right, but I have watched like 10 different videos on how to delete this ABS. And one of them had a white big 4x4, and he never mentioned anything about having to do anything with the four-wheel drive to make it work. So none of them mentioned that. So I'm wondering if maybe that's just a wives' tale, or if it actually is true. I don't know. And even if it wasn't true, it would be true for me. That's just how my luck is. So, yeah, I'm not happy with this truck. It's in my way. It's filling up my shop and really cramping my style. It's so far back in there against that bench back there, I can't even put my bandsaw down to cut anything because the knob hits the tailgate, and I need to move it forward a little bit. But I ain't got a whole lot of room right there to get between the garage door and get around it. So I just leave the damn bandsaw up, and if I need to use it, I guess I have to push the truck forward. That's why I keep putting the wheel back on it after I get done with certain things, so I can still have it mobile. At least it's still mobile. If I need it out of here in a quick hurry, I can just pull it out of here. But when you start digging into this rear end, yeah, I was told that when you take the oil pan out of this thing, and I can see that being an issue from what I've seen already from other stuff that's in here, that you actually have to pull the front differential out to get the oil pan out. That's too tight, guys. You guys that made this car, I hope you're still alive. I hope you're watching YouTube and love watching S10 videos, because I hope you see this. Come visit me. Let's have a conversation. Go work on a car for about a year before you decide to make life hard for us mechanics. So, anyway, I'm going to quit that bitching. It's actually making me feel better. But tomorrow I may feel a different way. But today, that's how I feel. And it's not getting any better, because when I get in here thinking I'm getting somewhere, like when I seen the frame after I painted, I'm like, I'm getting somewhere, and then this happens. So it's just one thing after another. But it's just got to have to be put on hold. So until I can do the next video, there'll be other ones. I'll be doing other videos, but it ain't going to be on this. I'm really thinking about taking and moving it out back on the other side of that wall. I don't know, I might put it out front here if I can find enough room to put it. That way, if I do decide to work on it, I can do it right there outside the door. And it won't be so hard to push back here when I need to. That's a lot of work to push this thing around. So, hell, I might just take the fucking thing out and put a Briggs and Stratton in it. I wonder how well that would work. Anyway, I think that's about all I can bitch about today. It just seems like everything's in its way. You know, that's where I'm seeing, or what I'm seeing. Everything's in its own way. You know, if you want to take one thing off, you got to take 5 other things off around it to get the one thing off. That's poor design, guys. Anyway, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, especially if you like bitching. This will be a good one for you to do that all on. Anyway, later.